Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars and welcome to my review for the third episode of Star Trek Picard, and this episode is titled The End is the Beginning. Now I have reviewed the first two episodes in this show and so far, especially the first episode, I really enjoyed. I thought the second episode was starting to have a little bit of a tinge of disappointment, but I still enjoyed it. And I think this episode again is a little bit on the decline. I think you don't I don't feel comfortable criticising this show because I'm such a big fan of Star Trek over the years, and I was so delighted to see Picard come back to our screen. But I think it's time for a couple of home truths with this show, and there are a couple of things that I think are harming it. I think it's becoming a little bit convoluted, this show, and I think the slow pace is starting to hurt it, and I'm hoping that we're going to get an upwards increase and incline in quality in this show, because we've still got a few episodes to go. And I think generally what is harming this show is the fact that when you used to watch Star Trek years ago, there wasn't, I mean, there might have been a central arc in that season, kind of. But it was kind of like episode to episode, different adventures each episode, generally speaking. And there might have been one or two character arcs through that season, here and there. Well, this one, it's a each episode is like a continuation. It's the same story week in, week out. And I think they're struggling to expand what essentially is quite a simple storyline. The fact that, these Romulans they're in Starfleet now, everything's corrupt. And clearly there's these two synthetics that have been built, even though there have been laws against it, and Picard, feeling this loyalty to Data, feels he has to do something to seek out this second twin, as the first one was killed. It's actually a very simple story, and I think they're relying a little bit too much on viewers' nostalgia for this show, which will get you so far. But ultimately, I think the story here is a little bit more convoluted than it needs to be, and I think they're stretching it out a little bit thin, this story. So I'm hoping that we can get a little bit more space adventure, if you like, a bit more fun in the episodes coming up, and let's hope it increases. Now, that's not to say that I really hated this episode, because I didn't. There were aspects of it that I really enjoyed. And they are very well made and very well acted for the most part. Another thing, I didn't mention this in the last episode, and it reminded me in this episode, because there was a little bit of bad language in this one, not as bad as last week's. Now, I'm not a prude, I don't mind bad language in films, it just doesn't seem to fit Star Trek. We've never had it before, not that I'm aware, but I haven't kept right up to date with all the shows. I haven't watched Star Trek Discovery and things like that. So it's a little bit jarring to hear swearing here and there in this show, but hey ho, it's not a deal breaker as far as I'm concerned. So what do we get in this episode? Well, it's more of the same, really. He's trying to convince people to join him on his mission to go and do what he needs to do. Some are on board, some aren't, some don't want to do it, some do, and all in the while on the Borg cube, this other Data android is doing her own investigations while being constantly supervised by these undercover Romulans. An attempt is made on Picard's life at his chateau before he sets off, and that's about your lot really in this episode. Not an awful lot else happens. That's kind of your lot. I mean, it tries to over dramatise certain sections of it, but ultimately, like I say, I think it was like last week's episode, just stretched out over two, I guess is the best way I can put it. So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10, this week's episode. I think it's a decline. We're seeing a slow decline from the first episode, which I give a 9. Last week's I gave 8. This week I'm giving 7. So I'm hoping we get an increase next week, and a continued increase as the weeks go on. I'm hoping that we're going to get some real space sci-fi adventure to keep us interested and entertained, because you know this show shouldn't fail. It can't fail. To bring Picard back, you've got so many things you could do with this show. I'm just not sure the direction they chose to go here is necessarily going to work throughout a 10 episode season. But I could be wrong, but I am eagerly anticipating more episodes to hope that I am proved wrong. So let me know in the comments, if you're watching this show, what your thoughts are. Do you feel like you're getting a little bit disappointed with the last couple of episodes? Please do let me know, and I will of course keep reviewing this season. Thanks for watching, everybody, and of course I'll see you back for more reviews on Screen Stars.